Hello, I haven't done this for about 3 months, maybe more, so I'm probably a bit rusty, wobbly and all the rest of it, so I hope this goes okay. As usual, I'm just doing this pretty much off the top of my head and not on a prepared script, so please excuse any slight wobbles and gaps and so forth. Anyway, let's hope that doesn't happen too much. What am I showing you today? Well, before I discuss this, let me just say that the reason that I have been so quiet since my last video is obviously because of my last video, which was about the death of my best friend. And the reason I'm doing this one today is because it's in part to honour her, and you'll see why in a short while. So we have right in front of you here, I'm wearing my gloves to disguise my horrible fingers and gnarly hands. Here we have my number 3 in a series. I have done these not every year but a few years for the winter solstice. I have done a series called Solstice Saviour, and this is my latest one. And the one you're seeing right here, if I could come out as much as possible, it's not very easy because of where I've got to do these videos, but I shall try and cover the whole thing as much as I can. And of course my video gets slightly cropped, so you're seeing even less of it than I am. Anyway, the one in the middle is Solstice Saviour 2021. So I have just completed this. It's the only thing I've done since my friend died, and I felt that I must do this for various reasons. Yes, so this is the original, warts and all original. Why I'm showing you it is primarily because you can see how bright it is. Even though when I upload videos the colour gets bleached out of it somehow. Between me here and you there, you are seeing a very faded out version. Anyway, the colours in this are much more vibrant than the printed version, which I will show you in a minute. So there is a man, a hunt saboteur. He is wearing the logo on his hat of the running fox of the hunt saboteurs. Behind him you can see the solstice sunrise. I'll try and get a bit closer because I was quite pleased with that. This background, by the way, all of this background comes from a photograph of my own. It's all based on that as a reference. The sky's colours and the way the light was coming through were exactly like that in the photograph. It was beautiful because it's my favourite, very favourite time of year between the sort of end of autumn and now. It's just marvellous. Anyway, so that's the background, and he is the Solstice Saviour with the light just sort of glowing around his head, so he doesn't look like he's wearing too much of a halo, but you get the gist. It's just a little bit of a device or something that gives you the clue that he is the saviour of. He's a man, he's a real man, he's not anything other than that. He is a real man, and this is the sort of thing that people can do. Save this beautiful creature. There we go. The fox is incredibly detailed in here. I'll try and get the whole of the fox in. There we go. He's cradling the fox. He's showing the love for all creatures in the cradling of the fox, and he radiates love and warmth, I think, I hope, and compassion, and is a true saviour, as we all can be. That's what he's really communicating to us. He's just a man, and he did this, and so can we, in our own ways. And of course I had to include some other creatures. Of course we've got the deer, and the dear old pheasant, which gets such a hard time, and is that it? Yes, just the 2 of them in this one. Normally I try and cram in as many as I can, but I'm trying to make my compositions a bit less busy. I don't think I've succeeded because as usual there's something going on in every nook and cranny, but I have tried to keep it a pleasing composition. I wish I could come right out and do that. If I do that, you can see the printed versions on either side. I'm trying to hold this steady. Really, most of what I can do is to focus, is to show you the details of his face and the pheasant, which was extraordinarily difficult to do. And of course I made it even more difficult for myself because I did it on a piece of the only thing that I had, which was a piece of typing paper. I don't suppose you call it typing paper anymore because people don't type, but I still do because I'm still living in some time about 30 years ago anyway, where I was probably happier to be, but less of that anyway. I did it on a piece of very unsuitable paper that was not a piece of art drawing paper because I could not find anything because everything has been stacked away for a long time. And so I did it on what I could get, and so there's lots of kind of crumply, creasy bits because that sort of paper doesn't take my kind of artwork where I am going over things quite a lot with pencil and ink, and it's Caran d'Ache pencil, watercolour pencil, and just ordinary pencil and ink and all sorts of things. Well, actually not all sorts of things, no, there's just those things really. I don't know why I said that. I told you it was going to be a bit kind of a seat of my pants kind of video. Anyway, I'm amazed I'm doing one at all, to be honest. I just thought I'd say hello and show you this anyway. Let's carry on. Anyway, I wish I'd stop saying that. It's really annoying me. It must annoy you. So that's that. You can see, hopefully, the level of detailing. I worked very hard on this because it was very important to me, but as I say, because I was working hard on it and going over it and over it to get the detail in, the paper did not enjoy my administrations and it became rather bubbly and all creased in places, and then I made a mistake of sticking it onto a piece of cardboard to give it some strength, and then the glue didn't quite work and it became rather bubbly. So yes, mistakes, lessons learned. I'm not really properly in my right sort of, not say my right mind, I am in my right mind, but I'm not in my equilibrium has been disturbed by current events. So yes, I didn't do what I would normally do, and that was the consequence. However, I think it has come out as well as it could. So that is the Solstice Saviour, and I think what I wanted to say about this is that my work, I'd like it to be pretty. I see a lot of cards, of sort of midwinter cards that people have done, some with people holding foxes. I mean, I started doing these about 2015, I think. I started doing this idea, so it's not like I've been copying people, and mine are very different, but a lot of people's are a lot prettier. They're a lot prettier. They have lovely girls holding foxes, and everything's very sort of sweet and nice and lovely, and you think, oh, I wish I was there. Well, mine never have that kind of quality, I don't think. It just comes out as it comes out. This is how I work, and I can't make anything sort of other than what it is. And I don't really feel like I should, because emulating other people takes away from my own creative impulse, which is unique. Like everybody's is unique, and if I copy somebody else's, or if I get too much influence from somebody else's, then I'm losing my own authenticity. And authenticity is probably more important to me than being pretty. I just know that my work appeals to a lot less people because it isn't pretty, generally. It's a bit too real, and it's not as lovely. It's not as lovely and attractive as it could be, and you probably don't want to put it on your wall as much as other people's work, but there you go, that's what I do. So yeah, just as a comment on that, this is from the Hunt Saboteurs book, which is being released, a beautiful looking book, and that's the kind of image that I'm thinking would make a more beautiful design. You know, lovely young girl, absolutely gorgeous picture of her cradling the rescued fox in the midwinter landscape, and this looks like a superb book. And this card, as my other ones have been, is dedicated to the Hunt Saboteurs, which I will show you in a minute. Anyway, I'm so sick of these anyways. And the more I mention it, the more I'm drawing your attention to it. So that's really, really clever of me, isn't it? Yes. I'm sure you've really missed me doing these rambling diatribes of... haven't you not? Anyway, shut up. Let's just look at the printed version. Now, you can see how little the colours have come out. It doesn't matter what I do, how hard I've worked on this. And let me tell you, working on these is absolute agony, physical agony for my body, because it means that I have to be using a computer to get this image scanned in and tidied up, and I don't do a great deal of tidying up. I like to keep it as it is, and as you can see, I don't sort of tart it up and do twiddles on it, you know. It is as it is. I just try and make it as tidy as possible, because there's always bits where the pencil hasn't covered properly and I fill those in. It's just a kind of cosmetic thing really, rather than actually altering it. But you can see the difference there with the colours. It's very disappointing. And what I wanted to do here was not only show you the real piece, but anybody I do send this card to, for it will be a card, will be able to see what it should have looked like, rather than the version they're going to get. Now, there are nice things about how the printed version comes out, because for some reason the ink, my printer is not great, and I cannot get another one at the moment, but what it does is it kind of smooths things out. So where you get all the quite sharp detailing on him, everything becomes kind of more smooth and sort of fuzzy almost, which has its benefits. It makes it sort of less no, I don't know, what does it make it less? They're just different, aren't they? I think they're just different. With him you can see all the colours much more, and his creases and his crinkles and his beard, and then this one he looks much softer. There's no change to him. I haven't done anything to him. That's just how the printed version comes out. And the same with the fox. The fox suddenly is kind of much more fluffy, really, and the pheasant kind of looks tighter because it's smaller, and the details on my original have kind of blended in more, and so it kind of looks tighter and yet more kind of natural. Because what am I trying to say, really? I don't know. You know, just sometimes I should just stop, shouldn't I? Everything's much more crisp and delineated on there, and because I was trying desperately to make it as detailed as possible. On here, all the detail is there, but it's kind of faded out slightly because of the printing process, and so it doesn't quite look so hard, and it looks more like it's in the background, which actually, compared to the main characters, it is. Same with the deer. The deer's become much more sort of fuzzy. If you look at my deer over here, you can see all the golden highlights from the sunrise on the deer, and this one has hardly got any, which is a shame. And the colours are just nowhere near as beautiful, but it is what it is. That's how it prints. So, and this might be how you see my original on the screen. I don't know yet, because I haven't. This is me making the video. We'll find out later, but I don't think you're ever going to see quite how bold my original was. I just wanted to give you a glimpse into what I've been doing. And this is the sort of size, so it's half size, half of A4 folded, and on the back, this is the important piece, we have Solstice Saviour 2021 by Palin, pencil and ink on paper. Not very good paper. I could have put in brackets, but why should I do that anyway? Dedicated to the Hunt Saboteurs Association, of which I am a lifetime member, and I would advise anybody who has not already gone to them to give them a little something for all their hard work, especially in this cold weather. And they are amazing. They are so amazing. And you will get, if you join the Hunt Saboteurs Association, just as an associate member, you don't actually have to go and do any sabbing. You will get the Howl magazine quarterly, which is a fantastic update on all their amazing work. So yes, so it's dedicated to them. There is their website underneath, and perhaps just as importantly, I think, in memory of Sue, February 1957 to August 2021, her beloved friend and champion of all creatures. And as I said in my other video about my darling Sue, she was a long time vegan and a quiet donator and supporter to so many animal causes. She never blew her own trumpet about anything, but I knew that she supported a lot of causes and knew a lot about what was going on in all sorts of issues. She was an extraordinary person. I can't tell you how much I miss her, and how devastated I am at the unnecessary nature of her death, but we will leave that there because I have made the other video. And here at the bottom we have a Pigs Not Pork production 2021. I have been doing Pigs Not Pork since I was about 13 or 14, Every card that I used to make had this on, because I stopped eating meat around that time. Didn't fully stop until I was about 15, because my mum, I was obviously living at home then, and it was very difficult and blah 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 blah. Anyway, that's when I became aware, and that's when I started dedicating all my work to all our relations and creatures. And that's my particular thing, a pigs not pork production, because pigs are just so great. Making compassionate art for over 40 years for all our relations, and then the all-important thing at the moment, stay free. Which kind of leads me on to my next work, which I don't think I'm going to be able to show you here, and I might have to make special videos about it, because I'd love to be able to make lovely, pretty artwork, but I think, especially at this time, I have never felt so driven to make artwork that actually makes a statement and says something and has meaning. Obviously, there's no point in it if it's not going to have some sort of aesthetic quality that you want to look at it, but I don't think they're going to be pretty at all. And I don't think I'm going to be able to show them on here either, because I think the nature of the subject matter will probably have them taken down, and if I get them taken down I might lose my channel, and I'm really not wanting to do that. So when I've done my new pieces, which could take, I don't know, a long time, I will probably put the video somewhere else and give you the links to them, just so that you can see them, because I like you to be able to see them. Even if you don't agree with them, at least you can see that I'm doing something. And probably the next video I do on here will just be a card reading using the Everyday Enchantment deck. Now, I don't really do card readings, but I'd like to explore what we could do with a few cards that I draw, and talk to you about that, because we haven't done any Everyday Enchantment for a long time, have we? No. Anyway, you might have done actually, but I haven't. It's been a very, very strange couple of years, has it not? But much more strange since my friend passed away. What did I want to talk about now? Yes, I'll just show you that again before I go. I'm nearly up to 18 minutes already. It's ludicrous. You know, sometimes I do a book review. Well, this isn't a full book review, but this is something that I've been reading lately. I can't really show you most of the things that I read, because they're usually things you wouldn't want to. I have very unusual tastes. Yeah, but this is something that I think would be quite useful. It's about an artist, Marina Abramovich. I knew I'd have problems when it came to her name, even though it's not difficult. Walking Through Walls, a memoir published by Penguin. I don't like this picture on the front very much, but there you go. This book is worthwhile in the same way that the ones I've talked about before, like Valley Meyer's art, Jordan. I did a talk about her at some point, and her book. Same sort of principle. These artists are fearless and authentic, and they're full of certainty. They don't doubt. They walk through walls because they know that what they're doing has purpose and meaning, and is completely uniquely from them, really. Of course they're inspired and influenced by people, but they do their own thing, and I think that is admirable, totally admirable. Even though I do not agree with a lot of what she does, she tends to use a lot of animals as props. She doesn't seem to, although she's very much talking about the feeling of love for all humanity, she doesn't really include her creature kin in that. But hey, what we can get from this book is inspiration, because of her fearlessness and her drive and her absolute unwavering not giving in. She will push herself to extremes. She has done extraordinary things. Her life story is absolutely fascinating. You've probably heard of some of her performance arts. She is a performance artist, probably the most famous performance artist in the world now. You've probably seen The Artist Is Present, where she sat for months in a chair, just seeing one person after another, and just gazing into their eyes, in MoMA in New York. And you've probably heard of things like Rhythm Zero, where she just stood and allowed the audience to do anything to her that they wanted to, including picking up a loaded pistol and pointing at her. Yes, her works are well worth investigating, even if you're just curious, because they push the body, the mind, the spirit, everything to the nth degree. It is really in the same. I mean, I think she was very influenced by a lot of the monks, but Buddhist monks that she encountered. and the feats that they were able to do, and again the original people of Australia who she encountered, and the way that they lived. And yeah, I'm not going to give a full review of this, but I do recommend it as a study of somebody who is unswervingly themselves, and I think that is so important, to be the thing that you were meant to be and express that in the way that only you can, and that's what I do. It's nowhere near as interesting as Marina Abramovich. It could never be, you know. I'm not a character. She's a performance artist. I'm not a character. I want to stay behind the scenes. This is what speaks for me in the world, and it's never going to be as technically accomplished. I know that there are people that I know that have worked in the Tate and that are accomplished in the art field who think that my work is pretty much pants, because it's not that, you know, it's not really art, is it, darling? It's just sort of illustration, if you like. Just illustration, you know, anyway, and it's never going to be that technically accomplished, but it says something, and it's mine, and nobody else can do it, and that's what's important. And I really wanted to start communicating something that I want to say, because I think art is going to be so important, much more important now in terms of communicating what's going on in the world and to us personally. Is there ever a time when it isn't important? No, I think it's very important indeed. And I thank you for joining me for this waffly womble around this new image. There you go. You can hopefully see how bright it is, and see how bright and bold the fox is, and the pheasant, and yeah, the ferns and all the leaves and everything. Yes, so I'll just come away and say thank you. Thank you for being here. I don't know what's going on with you. I feel for the people in Australia very much. I feel for the people in Germany very much. I won't go on about that now, blah, blah, blah. Most of you won't even have a clue what I'm referring to probably, but still, that's for another channel perhaps, and another video altogether. For now, I will just focus on art and meaning, and say wish you a very merry midwinter, as merry as it can be in this fantastic, inspiring season. I hope you're able to get out and enjoy the land and the creatures as much as possible, and to help them in this time of not having very much food. Okay, I did not put that very eloquently. I think I am much more eloquent when I write than when I try and waffle at you. I'm not at you, with you. I do think of you being there. I feel sorry for you being there, but I do feel that we're having a conversation, even if it's a one-sided sort of thing. I'm aware of you. I'm aware of you listening, and I thank you for it at the bottom of my heart. And thank you for coming back and joining me again when you probably thought this was all defunct and I was never going to make a video again. Well, I am. There's just been a hiatus because my poor beloved Sue has left this world and hopefully gone somewhere much more conducive to being free. Okay, that's me for now, leaving you with Solstice Saviour 2021, dedicated to the Huntsabs and my friend Sue. Love you lots, with love to all our relations. Thank you for being, and take care of yourselves. And stay free, my dears, stay free.